Hey you guys! So my husband's been on a business trip for the last week, so we haven't seen each other, and he's coming home today. So I'm gonna set up a little Netflix and chill situation in our living room and make a cute little charcuterie board and his favorite popcorn. You're gonna love this recipe. His favorite popcorn, and have a little champagne. So come along. So to create a charcuterie board or a cheese board, I need boards. And these are the two that I'm going to use. I could have just made something very simple and used one board, but I want to have a nice assortment of food, so I'm going to use two boards and these little glass dishes to hold some condiments. So this is everything I'm going to use for my board, and for my cheeses I'm going to use a marinated feta. Andre loves feta cheese and we keep it in the house. I'm going to cube some sharp cheddar, some smoked Gouda, and again this is everything I already had in the house. And for my soft cheese I'm going to use some goat cheese. Normally I would use a brie, but for my fruit I'm going to use some grapes and strawberries. I have some dried cranberries and our favorite fruit, mango. Gotta have some mango on my board. Now for my meats I'm going to use two different salamis. I have some prosciutto, and I also had some provolone, so I'm going to put that on my board as well. Now for my crackers, I had some butter crackers and some Triscuits in my pantry, and that'll work just fine. You can use whatever crackers. And I also had some breadsticks, so I'm gonna put those on my board. Now for my condiments, I'm gonna use a little apricot jam. I also have some fig jam, which is very common on charcuterie and cheese boards. It's really, really delicious. And I'm gonna use some honey. Another thing I like to add to my board is fresh herbs, so I'm going to add some rosemary and fresh thyme. For a filler, I'm going to use some walnuts and some wasabi peas, and you'll see what I mean later when I say filler. I have my utensils, and the only other thing I'm going to add is some olives. So I'm going to start assembling my board, and I usually start with my cheeses. So I've cubed my cheddar cheese, I have my provolone, I sliced some Gouda, I already had the feta cubed, and I have my goat cheese. Next I start layering my meat. So I've already placed my salami in between the two cheeses, and then I'm going to start adding my prosciutto. Now when I place my prosciutto, I like to kind of roll it, and when you stand it up it kind of looks like a flower. Now I'm adding my fruit to the board, and I'm going to use these grapes as kind of a centerpiece. I have my strawberries on the far corner, I have my mango in the bowl, and now I'm going to start adding my crackers. So I have my butter crackers and my Triscuits, and then I'm going to just place my breadsticks here. I've got my jams placed in the bowl, and I'm going to put those on the board. Here's my apricot jam and my fig jam, and then I have my olives here on the other side of the board. I think fillers are very important, so I put those in, and those are my walnuts, my cranberries, my wasabi peas, because you want all of those empty spaces filled in. And then what I like to do is take some honey and just drizzle it over the top of my goat cheese. Oh my God, this is so delicious, you guys. And last but not least, I want to garnish my board with my fresh herbs. And this is where I start placing my rosemary and my thyme. It's just a nice little pop of green sticking out from different areas on the board. It has a wonderful aroma. You guys know rosemary and thyme smells so good. And even on the board, once it's sat out for a while, you can really smell those wonderful flavors of those herbs. So I'm just going to place my rosemary, and all I have to do now is put my thyme down, and we are almost done with this board. And we are done. Now let's get started on our popcorn. I have my bowl, and this is everything you'll need. You'll need some popcorn. We don't do microwave around here. We like to pop on the stove. I have some butter flavored oil that I always use when I pop. This recipe calls for truffle salt. If you can't find it in your local grocer, you can order it online. I have some parsley flakes, just dried parsley flakes, and some Parmesan cheese. So I'm just gonna get started grating my cheese. Okay, we can't have popcorn without butter, so I'm going to melt a stick of butter in the microwave for 1 minute. Okay, let's get this popcorn popping. I'm going to turn my fire up to high, and I'm going to add my oil. I just want it to cover the bottom of the skillet. So I put it in, and then I usually just take a spoon and move it around to make sure that all of the surfaces of the bottom are covered completely. Then I'm just going to add my popcorn, and once my popcorn is added, I'm just going to put a top on it and let it do its thing. And it's popping. I can smell it already. Okay, my popcorn is all done, and now all we have to do is assemble. Let's get this popcorn assembled. So I just took it off the stove and it's really hot. So to move it into the bowl, I'm going to use a spoon. I like to put my popcorn together in layers. That way I get all of the flavors throughout the popcorn. And this looks pretty good for my first layer. So the next thing I add is my butter. Now you can use as much butter or as little butter as you like. We happen to like a lot of butter on our popcorn. So I just drizzle that over, and then my next ingredient is the truffle salt. I sprinkle the truffle salt on, and then I add my cheese. And again, you can add as little or as much as you like. We love Parmesan cheese. I'm telling you guys, these flavors together are incredible. And then I sprinkle it with my parsley. Okay, let's go ahead and finish loading this up. And that's it, you guys. I think it turned out wonderful. I think my husband will really appreciate the effort that I took to put this together for us. Again, we haven't seen each other in 5 days because he's working, but I think this will be a nice little surprise when he gets home, a nice relaxing situation. This is something you can do. It's so easy. You just use things that you already have in your home. You don't have to go super fancy. It's all about the presentation. I've got our little bowls for our popcorn. I've got my champagne glasses on the table. The only thing I'm missing now is my man. I certainly hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and share it with your friends. I think this is something that anyone can do at home. All it takes is a little time and creativity. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Hit the notifications button so you'll be the first to know when I upload new videos. And I'll see you next time. All I need to do now is upload a movie on Netflix and we are good to go. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest at Simply Ormandy. Ciao.